Thursday, February 1st. We only have a few NBA games, so I might have a college basketball video out later. Quick recap of yesterday. Our 4-day game winning streak came to an end. Our 5-man went 3 of 5. Those two props that missed, they only missed by 0.4, 0.6 fantasy points. Our 2-man, one of them did not hit. Hopefully we bounce back today and start the month fresh and good. So let's get started. I have a 2-man and a 5-man. A lot of these players are getting ruled out last minute. Some of these star players are sitting out. So let's get started on the 2-man, and my top 2 of the day will be Tyrese Halliburton. And I don't think I ever seen his fantasy score this low. He is on limits, our minutes restriction, but at 34.5, hard to pass up. And this last game, coming back from injury, he did play 22 minutes, and he almost passed his fantasy score of 34 when he was at 33.6. He only played 22 minutes, and he still had 10 assists. He had 13 points. He would have gone over his fantasy score if he would have not shot 5 of 16, but he was injured. He was coming back from injury. I'm going to take him. Last matchup against the Knicks, he played 35 minutes, had 22 points, and 23 assists. So I'm going to be taking him at 34.5. It was at 34, but unfortunately I missed it, and I ended up getting a bump. I still think he's going to soar over 34.5. I think he's going to play a little bit more than 22 minutes. He's probably going to be somewhere between 25 and 30 minutes. They are playing at the Garden, so I think Tyrese is going to come out and dish out a double-double. So I'll be taking Tyrese over fantasy, and I'm going to be pairing it with the wagon, John Collins. And I'm going to be taking his fantasy score at 28.5. Last game, he did not hit it, but his past 10 games, he's had an 80% hit rate. Joel Embiid is not playing for the 76ers today, so I think John Collins is going to have a double-double. So I'm going to be taking him over and his fantasy score. That is my top 2, my day 1 of the ladder day challenge. Let's head on over to the 5-man. First one that comes up, I almost took it at my day 1 of the ladder challenge, was Aaron Nesmith, and he is my first leg for this 5-man. And I'm going to be taking his fantasy score at 27.5. His minutes are going to be going slightly down due to the fact that Tyrese is back. So they're going to ease Tyrese back into the starting role. Or should I say his limits higher. But Aaron Nesmith should be a highly producer at 27.5. Hard to pass up when he's been averaging close to 40. He had a 53 against Boston. So I think he's going to be somewhere in the mid-30s, even with Tyrese back in the lineup. But I'm going to take an Aaron Nesmith as my first leg. Next one I'm taking is OG Anunoby, and I'll be taking his fantasy score at 31. Production has been up. Usually his fantasy score is somewhere in the 25 to 28 range, all the way up to 31. Should be a high, fast-paced game against Indiana, so I think he's going to soar over this fantasy score at 31. I'll be taking the over. Next up I'm taking is a key role player who's getting a lot of minutes now, is John Conker. And for him, I'll be taking his fantasy score at 20.5. It did get slightly bumped. It was at 20 this morning. I still like it. I'll be taking the 20.5 and over. Next up is Jrue Holiday. And this game might be scary. It's going to be a blowout. I think the Lakers they don't have Anthony Davis and LeBron James. They were just ruled out about an hour ago. But I'm going to be taking Jrue Holiday. If it is a blowout, I think he's going to stay on the floor. He's one of those players that's going to stay on the floor. They usually rest Jason Tatum or Porzingis or maybe Jaylen Brown. But I think Jrue Holiday will stay on the floor and his production will go up. Therefore, I'll be taking his fantasy score. He also has an 80% hit rate in the past 10 games, going over at 28. And my last leg is Colin Sexton. Now, I'm not going to be taking his fantasy score just for the fact that I think Lauri Markkanen or Jordan Clarkson are going to go off. But I'm going to be taking Colin Sexton's rebounds. He did catch for us last time. So I'm going to be taking his rebounds at 2.5. With Joel Embiid, I think he's going to have more opportunities. So I think he'll get about 3 or 4 rebounds in this game. And those are my top 5. Nesmith, OG, John, Jrue Holiday over fantasy score, and Colin Sexton over rebounds. You can take his fantasy score. It's not bad. But I'm going to just taking his rebounds at 2.5. Fantasy's at 32. Obviously, he has the ceiling of 50. But I'll be taking his rebounds just for the fact that Joel Embiid is out. So mix and match. Pick your favorite. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one.